welcome. So today we're going to go through a flow class. It'll be pretty gentle, a little bit of strength building and of course some flexibility, but primarily focusing on our intention, which today I'd like the focus to be on Ahimsa. And this is one of our yamas and niyamas from the 8 limbs of yoga, and it translates to nonviolence. So I thought I'd start by reading a little description of what Ahimsa could translate to mean for you. So Ahimsa is the practice of nonviolence, which includes physical, mental, and emotional violence towards others and the self. We create violence most often in our reactions to events and others, habitually creating judgment, criticism, anger, or irritation. Compassion is the ability to accept events as they are with an open and loving heart. It is a letting go of reacting to a situation in a conditional and negative way, and replaces those thoughts or feelings with kindness, acceptance, and love. At first, practicing compassion is hard, frustrating, and not fun. But the key is to have compassion for oneself for not having compassion, and to smile at the contradiction. So I was having a moment that lasted more than a moment, to be honest. It was probably hours, to be honest, where I had these, I'd like to call them tapes, playing in my head. And they were causing me a lot of emotional upset, everything ranging from anger to sadness to fear, hurt. And I knew that I was doing it. I was having this tapes replay, and I had such good reason for the tapes. Somebody said this, somebody did that, I saw this, I heard that. And so when I first was going through this repeating pattern, I thought it was justified. Like there was reason for it, that I had all this information to kind of justify how I was reacting or how I was thinking about these situations, these tapes that were playing. And it was causing me a lot of grief. And then I had like a Oprah aha moment. Thank God, those come once in a while. And I started to think about, what if the tapes that I'm playing aren't right? What if what I heard someone say was misunderstood? What if since that they've had a change of heart? What if the information that I keep replaying isn't allowing other information that cancels it out to come in? So yeah, somebody might have said something or did something to me, but maybe they did other things that were really kind or generous that would offset that initial reaction to that one thing. And so the more I kind of thought through that, like, wow, what if what I'm thinking is wrong? And then what if I forced myself to look for reasons that actually contradicted what I was thinking? And of course I found lots of things to contradict it, because all I was doing was replaying the same tape over and over again. And I blocked out all this other information that would have made me feel actually better. So this is what the practice of Ahimsa is. Recognizing that you're doing it, and then being able to pause and say, okay, this is causing me discomfort or pain, emotional upset, whatever. Is there something that I can do? Can I change the way I'm thinking so that I'm no longer going down this roller coaster ride of upset and whatever? So the answer is yes, you can do that. And same with our yoga practice. So sometimes I struggle, like maybe this is too gentle. Like, why am I doing it if it's so gentle? Or why am I doing this if it hurts? And so the more you kind of question what you're doing and why you're doing it, then you can ask the questions that are really important, like, oh, I feel better after I do this. Okay, this is a positive thing for me. Or I can notice that I'm getting stronger, and because of that I can do more activities that I enjoy, or whatever your reasoning is. So it always comes down to the same idea, which is common thread from yoga and Buddhism and all these other wonderful philosophies, is that you just have to take the time to pause and to notice. And that's why sometimes our yoga practice can be very gentle, because it's not so much about the physical movement, although that has tons of benefits. It's about, here's a time and space for you to just stop and think. Why am I doing it? Is it a benefit to me? Am I blocking out other information that might be relevant? So if you're always doing a pose and you always feel a pinch in your hip, but you keep doing it, well, why? Is there a different way to do the pose? What if I take my knee out wider? What if I take my knee in line? What if I just skip that pose for a while and then try it again in a few weeks or a few months and see if it's different? Because chances are it will be different. So that's what we're going to work on today. Ahimsa, compassion and non-harming for ourselves and to others. So let's begin by coming up to standing. Now we're going to find Tadasana, or mountain pose. So you want to have an even balance from front to back, side to side. You want to have some firmness through the legs and firmness through the belly. So this is us trying to get muscle memory. Can we stand with good posture? Shoulders, of course, are going to be down and back, reaching the crown of the head up. So you want to feel tall and centered. And you want to feel like you're in an athletic stance. So what that means is, when I come into my Tadasana standing, could I take a step forward, to the side, or to the back quite quickly if I needed to? And then you know that you are primed and ready for movement. But from Tadasana, just close down the eyes, roll the shoulders. The palms will naturally start to turn a bit more forward as the shoulder blades squeeze. Work on creating length through the spine and firmness through the legs. And then just notice how we have a tendency to rock forward and back and side to side. If you're able to find center, try to stay at center and then take the awareness to the breath. So we want to be breathing in and out through the nose if we can. Perhaps just a little deeper and a little slower than your natural breath to start. And then set your intention right here in Tadasana to move through your practice with the idea of compassion and noticing. You're going to flutter the eyes open, swoop the arms up. And you can either hook your thumbs or you could interlace your fingers, whichever feels more comfortable. And we're going to just start to lean from side to side. So side bending from side to side. And just notice if you're rolling forward or you're rolling back, and see if you can stay right at center. And that might mean that the movement gets smaller. We want to be feeling the stretch along the side waist. You might choose to stay a little longer on one side and just feel it out. Notice where the restrictions are. And then switching sides when you intuitively know that it's time. You may start to release one hand down, maybe just to the outer thigh or to the hip, so that you can support your torso while you lean a little deeper. Hopefully over time, the low back and the hips give you a bit more space, and maybe the shoulders as well. So then we're going to meet back up at the top. And you're just going to let your arms be by your side. You want to have enough space around you. And you're just going to start to swing your arms. So let the arms be super relaxed. They're like the rides at the fair. And our focus isn't on the arms. Our focus is on the rotation through the spine. So we want it to be really natural and gentle to start. We're not using the arms to force a rotation. We're just going to let the arms sort of swing us. And of course, creating the beautiful twist through the mid to upper back. And you can move a little faster. Again, the focus here is the spine. you can either keep going with the arm swings, or you can pause and bring your hands up and interlace them behind your head. And then go back to the gentle rotation side to side. Letting your rotation gently come back to center, let the hands come down. Let's interlace them behind the back. We want to get the action of having elbows bent to start so you can get your shoulders to roll, and then squeeze the shoulder blades, squeeze the elbows, squeeze the palms towards each other until you feel the space open up to the front of the chest and the front of the shoulder joint. If you need more, of course, you take your hands farther away. And then keeping your hands either pulled away from you or resting on your low back, you're going to slowly start to fold forward. You can have a softness through the knees and just come to where you can. Maybe the hands fall up and over the head. And then you start to inhale, rise up, squeeze shoulder blades, elbows and palms, lift the chest, lift the gaze. And on your exhale, you'll fold back forward. So working with the inhale to rise up and the exhale to go back down. Now if you need to slow it down, you just simply pause for a whole breath at the bottom or the top, and then again initiating the movement with your breath. Let's do one more round. And meeting back at the top, unlace the hands, let them be by your side naturally again. Oh, shifting all of your weight to one foot, you're going to lift the other foot and you're just going to start to take your bent knee in some circles. So balanced posture, but also getting into the major joint of the body, the hips and the pelvis. You're going to take your knee in circles both directions. Your hands can be wherever you need them, whether they're on support or on the hips or up to the side. So working on the strength of the standing leg, the balance, and then the range of motion in the hip that of course is doing the circles. Could be some cracking and popping. You may start to notice a restriction where you get more of a square shape. And then switching sides, same thing. Starting with a small circle, gradually making it bigger or faster. Not to worry if you lose your balance. Of course, going both directions if you haven't already. And coming back to stand at the top of the mat. So we're going to move from here into our chair flow. Again, the distance between your feet is something you can play with. You might want them a bit wider. Okay, back into your Tadasana, so you've got firm legs, firm belly, tall spine. We're going to swoop the arms up, and your hands can either press or they can face each other. From here, you're going to exhale down into chair pose. So send your hips back. You should be able to see the tops of your feet or your toes. If your knees are covering your feet, just send your hips farther back. Create that firmness and lift through the belly, and you can always adjust the arms. So maybe they don't reach up, maybe they reach forward, or maybe they're on the hips. We're going to hold here. And then on your next exhale, you're going to fold and straighten. So Uttanasana, forward fold. And then rise up either onto your fingertips or hands to shins for extended lift. So we want to feel the extension. The crown of the head is reaching forward. We've got firmness in the belly and we're working towards a straighter leg. And then exhale and fold. Bend the knees, swoop the arms, come all the way up, full body stretch, keep the arms lifted. And exhale, sit back down, chair pose. So holding, refining, getting the weight into the heels. Again, creating some heat. modify the arms. If you need to, you can always sit a little higher or a little lower. And then on your next exhale, fold and straighten, forward fold. Rising up into your extended lift, nice strong straight back, collarbones are broad. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, swoop the arms all the way up, full body stretch. Exhaling back into your chair pose. Again, refining the movement. You want to make sure that you're protecting your low back, so pull the belly in and up. Send your hips back. You should be able to see the toes. Choose the arm variation that works. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Rising up, extended lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, swoop the arms all the way up, full body stretch. Exhale, chair pose. Again, refining it. Coming back into the idea of Ahimsa. Is there something that you need to do to make this, that there's effort, but there's also some comfort or ease? And that just might mean me modifying the arms, coming up a little higher, going a little lower perhaps, changing the distance between your feet. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Rise up, extended lift. Hands either to shins or to the fingertips. Exhale, fold. Inhale, swoop the arms up. Hands in front of your heart. And then coming into our lotus mudra. So you're going to keep the pinky fingers and the thumbs together. The heel of your hand can also stay pressing, but open up the other three fingers so that you have like a bowl in front of you. Excuse me. Keeping the firmness of your belly, the firmness of your legs, the idea of reaching the crown of your head up, you're tall. And fill your bowl up with compassion. Download it from the universe. I know that we all have tapes and beliefs that we have that are playing constantly, and they create emotional upset. They create feelings of scarcity, lack. And so we're going to just fill our bowl up with compassion for ourselves, knowing that we're working through it. We're learning how to deal with these tapes that we're playing. And that there's lots of room for improvement and hope. Good. Seal your hands. Seal the compassion that you drew in. Keep it close to the heart for now. And then release the hands. I'm going to go to the top of my mat so that I can step back, and you will as well. So we'll be at the top of the mat in Tadasana. And then we're going to shift all the way to the left foot. We're going to bring our right foot up into whatever version of tree pose that we're comfortable with. So that might just be turning the knee out and balancing on the ball of your foot. You may want to bring your foot up somewhere along the standing line. You can have your hands at heart center still. Find your balance, find stability. From tree pose, we're stepping back to warrior one. So you're going to soften your standing leg knee. You're going to release the right foot and step to the back of your mat. The back heel will come down. It'll be at a slight angle. Hips will stay square. And then firmness, pulling the belly in and up as we reach the hands overhead. So the emphasis is pressing down through the back heel. You want to feel a nice stretch to the back of the calf, so maybe the hamstring for you as well. You've got a nice bend in the forward knee and you're pressing down. So we want to be pressing the whole sole of the foot into the mat, keeping the firmness of the belly, and pressing the palms together so that the arms and the upper back are engaged. And then we're just going to hold the shape. Allow the hands to come back down in front of the heart, and you're going to step back up into your tree pose, hopefully with one smooth, easy transition, landing with your right foot back on your left standing leg. From here, we'll step back again to warrior one. So softness through the standing leg knee. Right foot steps back, arms reach up. Back into your tree pose. And back to warrior one. This time from warrior one, open your arms out to the side like airplane wings. The palms can face down. Straighten the front leg. And with control, start to fold forward. So we're only going halfway down. Going to look like an airplane. Crown of the head reaches forward. Legs are strong and straight. You'll have a little micro bend in the forward knee. Rise back up, warrior one. And back to tree pose, top of the mat. We'll release the feet down, Tadasana. Switching sides, same thing, all the way to the right foot. Left foot comes up, tree pose. And stepping back, warrior one. Again, emphasize the pressing down to the back heel, pressing down through the whole sole of the right foot. Belly's firm and pulled in and up. Hands are pressing. Back to tree pose. And warrior one. Back to tree pose, Vrikshasana. And back to warrior one, Virabhadrasana 1. And taking the arms out to the side like airplane wings, palms will face down, arms are long and straight. Straighten the front leg and hinge from the hip crease forward. Gaze is down, crown of the head is reaching, micro bend in the forward knee. Reaching the hands up, back to warrior one. And into tree pose. Releasing Tadasana. Okay, just taking a moment to rock back and forth on your feet, perhaps moving the ankles, rotating the wrists. We're going to move into our sun salutations. The first one will be slow, the second one medium, the third one a little bit faster. From the top of your mat, swoop the arms up and sit down, chair pose. Again, palms can either be facing each other or pressing. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana.
Rising up, extended lift either to fingertips or hands to shins. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step back into a plank or plank on the knees. Move around, wiggle until you find the perfect strong stance that you can maintain. Create the little rise through the upper back. So imagine you're making an arch from your two armpits. Belly's firm, legs are strong and straight. We're going to exhale, lowering to the belly. Push your weight forward and then bend at the elbows to come on down. Untuck the toes. You can lengthen your legs out long. Roll the shoulders, slide the hands a little farther back, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together and the elbows towards the ribs. Going into our rolling cobra. So every time you inhale, you're going to curl up. And as you exhale, you lower down. You can do this 4 to 6 times. Last one, holding at the top. Remember that we're trying to create strength in the mid to low back. So the legs are firmly rooted, and we're isolating the muscle that lift in the mid to low back. Shoulders are staying squeezing, so you're getting that contraction of the muscles in the upper back. We'll exhale, release. Let your knees now push into the mat. Firm your belly really strong, and then simply straighten the arms to go to either plank or plank in the knees. And then back to downward facing dog. Option for child's pose or tabletop if you prefer. Move around and walk it out as much as you can. So bend one knee, bend the other. Work on a long straight line from the wrists to the hips. And working the heels down towards the floor. We're going to be stepping from down dog into warrior one. We'll be with the right foot first. So just turn your left toes out slightly and plant the left heel. Bend your knees and step the right foot about 3/4 of the way up the mat. Get a good grip. And then when you're ready, swoop the arms up, warrior one. So familiar territory, make any adjustments to the feet or how you landed. Create that pulling upward sensation of the belly. Squeeze the hands if they're pressing. And then we're going into our flying parzo. So the arms come out to the side, the front leg straightens, and we fold over the forward leg. Think about creating as much length from the hips to the crown of your head. So reach forward, balancing with the hands out to the side. From here, we're going to release the hands to the floor. Let them come down out in front of your foot. And we're going to step back, down dog. Move around. And we're going to go through a vinyasa. So option to just hold down dog, to flow through the vinyasa, or to come into child's pose. From down dog, if you're going to flow, it's into plank. Lowering to the belly. Rising up into the back bend of your choice. So it could be cobra, it might be high cobra, or it could be up dog. We'll release the back bend all the way to the floor. Tuck the toes and press to either plank or plank on the knees and back to down dog. This time the right heel turns and plants so that the left foot can step forward. And when you're stable, rise up, warrior one. Squaring the hips, pulling the belly in and up, pressing down to the back heel and the whole sole of the front foot. Coming into your flying Parsvo, arms open up wide, hinging forward, micro bend in the forward leg, lengthen from hips to the crown of the head. Releasing the hands in front of your foot, step back, down dog. And just take a moment in downward facing dog to come back to your intention. To practice with compassion and with awareness, making adjustments, and questioning the thoughts that arise, especially when you're thinking about each pose. Maybe you have a reaction or a thought process that happens every time you come into a certain shape or pose or a transition. And you might notice that it's negative in some way, and can you rewrite it? We're going to walk or step the feet to the top of the mat, arriving eventually in our forward fold. We'll rise up into extended lift, either fingertips or hands to shins. And then bending the knees, coming into your chair pose. Rising up, hands to heart. And releasing the hands, preparing for our second round, a little bit faster this time. Arms swoop up. Exhale, chair pose. On an exhale, forward fold. On an inhale, extended lift. Exhaling to plant the hands, step back, plank. Again, on an exhale, lowering to the belly. Inhaling, back bend of choice. Releasing all the way to the floor. Tuck the toes, press up and back to down dog. Left heel turns and plants, right foot steps forward, warrior one. Flying pyramid pose, front leg straightens, arms reach out, crown of the head goes forward. Hands come down in front of the right foot, stepping back, down dog. Your choice to either take the flow, vinyasa, hold down dog, or come to child's. If you're moving, you're coming to plank, lowering to the belly. Choosing the back bend, make sure your toes are untucked, whichever back bend you're in. Releasing, pressing up, and back to down dog. Meeting in down dog, right heel turns and plants, left foot steps forward, warrior one. Opening the arms out to the side, straighten the front leg. Come on down. Long lines, straight legs, line from the hips, out the crown of the head. Hands come down in front of the left foot, step back, down dog. Walking, stepping, or jumping to the top of your mat, we'll meet in our forward fold. Rising up, extended lift. Bend the knees, swoop the arms forward, chair pose. Rising up, hands to heart center. Opening the palms back up into your lotus mudra, making the bowl shape with your hands. Close down the eyes. Maintain the firmness of the legs and the belly and the upper back. Perhaps closing the eyes or staring into your bowl. Imagine all the compassion and gratitude that you can bring into the body for how it's moving and how it's performing for you. Let the breath become a bit quieter. Seal the palms in front of the heart. We're going back into our last sun salutation, faster this time. If you need to modify, just slow it down and we'll always meet in down dog. Top of the mat. Arms swoop up. Chair pose. Forward fold. Extended lift. Plant the hands, step back. Plank. Exhale to the belly. Inhale, back bend. Exhale. Press up. Back to down dog. Right foot comes forward. Rise up, warrior one. Straighten the front leg. Arms out to the side. Hands come down, step back, down dog. Vinyasa or hold. Meeting in downward facing dog. Left foot forward, rise up, warrior one. Straighten the front leg, arms out to the side. Hands down to the mat, step back, down dog. Walk, step or jump to the top of the mat. We'll meet in forward fold. Rise up, extended lift. Bend the knees, chair pose. Rising up, hands to heart center. Release the hands. If you have a block or something that can come under your hand, let's find it. And come to the middle of your mat and have your block out in front. It can be highest setting, medium, or low. We're going into our balancing half moon. So from the middle of your mat, you're going to step your right foot back. Think again like your warrior one stance, perhaps just a tiny bit shorter. So you have a bend in the forward knee. And your left foot is forward, so it's your left hand that's going to come to the prop. So lean forward, get your hand down. It'll be out in front of your left foot, maybe slightly over to the left. Right hand can be on your hip, or you can have it down on the floor for extra balance. We're going to shift the weight forward, and we're going to lift the back leg up. And you can point or flex your back foot. You can now take the chance or change to move the hand around or the support. And then just see if you can come to balance with just the one hand and the one foot on the support of the floor. Right hand could go to the hip, or you could reach it up towards the ceiling. And we're just going to work on our balance. So if you fall out or wobble, just come back up nice and slow and controlled. Doesn't matter how high the back leg lifts. Just work on the balance and maintaining a nice, strong, straight standing leg, firmness through the belly, and length through the spine. Your gaze can go down, forward, or up, and you may find you have better balance without the prop, so you can explore with that too. Just another couple breaths as we hold. And then if you can, bring your hands back down to the floor and let the back leg come back down so you can rise back up, warrior one. And releasing the hands down. Step the back foot forward and we'll switch sides. So whether you use the prop or not, doesn't matter. We're going to be stepping the left foot back. Again, it's a warrior one stance to start. You have a bend in the forward knee. Take your time finding stability there first, and then just start to bring your hand down onto the block or onto the floor. Left hand to left hip. And when you feel ready, shift your weight into the right foot. And lift the back leg when you feel balanced. Play around with the height of the prop, with the height of your leg, where your gaze goes, and where you reach the left arm. Slow, steady breath if you can. Staying focused. Practicing with compassion, non-harming. Watch your thoughts. Now when you're ready to transition, the hand can come down or towards the floor. Back leg comes back down, rising up, warrior one. And releasing the hand, stepping to the top of the mat. Just move around a little bit, walk it out. Woo! Let's do it again, first side. It's always easier the second time. So again, it's going to be the right foot back. Warrior one to start. Bringing the hand down, finding your balance, lifting the back leg, and then making some choices, good choices. Maybe you have to adjust your prop. If it's not challenging enough, move the eyes around, adjust the props, either higher or lower, find a different sensation to challenge yourself again. And then we'll just hold for a few breaths. And if you can, make the smooth transition back to warrior one. Releasing the hands, and last time, last side. Left foot back. Find your balance. Balancing half move. Other side. Easy transition back to warrior one. Releasing the hands, stepping to the top of the mat. All right, you can just put your prop off to the side. And we'll start back at the top of the mat. Nice big arm sweep all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Rising up onto fingertips, extended lift. Bend the knees, plant the hands, just walk your feet to down dog. Move around. And we're going to move forward to come into our pigeon pose. So we've done a lot of external rotation of the outer leg. We're going to just settle into a nice stretch for the hips. So you can reach your right leg up towards the sky, three-legged dog. And then let it swoop forward, bringing the shin and the knee to the outside of the right wrist. Adjusting your back leg. This is where you may need to have a block or a bolster or a blanket underneath the right sit bone. Ideally, the hips will be level. And you can either stay on your hands or you can lower down towards the belly or the forearms. I encourage you to move around a fair amount, shifting your hips, adjusting your back leg, adjusting the angle of your forward leg until you find just where you need to be today, and then opt to stay there. So as you're holding the posture, you're gonna go back to the number one, the breath. So making it nice and controlled and even as best you can. And then starting to notice the thoughts. And if you notice that there's some that are habitually happening, they just always come up. Whether it's because of the pose or because you just have something that's always on repeat, just see if you can change it. Guarantee that you will be able to if you have compassion with yourself to know that sometimes we get stuck and we have to just pause long enough to get in there and do a little work and just change. Even if you just change like one little tiny bit, it'll make a huge difference to how you feel. In the event that this pose is not working for you or you've got pain in the knee, know that you could be in your figure 4 stretch, which would either be from seated or on your back. And that looks like this. So ankle to knee or thigh, and then holding yourself either seated or you could be lying on your back in the same shape. So whichever position you're in, we're going to move from either our figure 4 or the pigeon into a twist. So if you've got a prop under the right side, you're going to slide it out. You're going to come to rest on your right hip bone, and you're going to draw your back leg all the way forward until you can cross your legs. So you're going to look like you have your left knee bent out in front of your chest, your right knee is bent and back towards the outer hip. Nice tall spine, evenly weighted down through the sit bones. You're going to be taking a twist in both directions, so it won't matter which way you start, but I'm going to hold my left knee with my left hand, I had to think about that, and turn to the right to start. And come back to face forward and just switch the direction. So opposite arm to knee, opposite hand going behind. You may have to lean back and sort of scoop the belly past the thigh so you can get that tall spine again. And then working on the rotation. Again, the low back stays actually really secure here.
it's mid to upper back that's doing the turning. So if you've got a lot of discomfort in the low back, you might be turning a little bit too much down low. So try to get it just mid to upper back as you rotate. Release and come back to face forward. And you're just going to unwind whatever shape you're in, and we're going to meet back in down dog. Starting from downward facing dog, left leg will lift, three-legged dog. And using some momentum, swing it forward for pigeon on the other side. And again, if pigeon's not the right pose for you, you could be seated or on your back for a figure four stretch. So we're working on opening up the outer hip. As long as you feel stretched there, you're in the pose. Again, you want evenness or level through the hips. You may have to have that prop on the left side. And then you can stay either upright or you can lower back down to the forearms or through the belly. Now we're going to make the transition into our seated twist. So if you're on your forearms, you rise up. Any props that are under your left side, you take out. Sit on your left hip bone. Swing your back leg all the way forward and cross the legs. If this doesn't work for you, the bottom leg could always be straight too as an alternative. Either way, you want to have a nice tall spine. One knee is in towards the chest. And we're going to be turning to the left first this time. So you can hang on to the knee with the same hand and turn to the left. Release back forward and switch your arms so that you can turn and rotate the opposite direction to your right. Release and come to face forward. You're going to unravel your legs, and again we're going back to downward facing dog. Now as you hold down dog, you've been here a few times now, maybe even just coming to a slightly shorter down dog so you can work your heels back down to the floor. Lengthen through your spine, strong straight arms. So in your downward facing dog, see if you can think about rotating your upper arm bone out, and you'll know that you're doing this because the eye of your elbow now either faces more forward or towards each other, just depends on your mobility. So the upper arm bone rotates out and away from your body.
And then countering that with an internal rotation of your lower arm bone. So if you just think about pressing down through your thumb and index finger, as you rotate the upper arm bones, you'll get the right alignment. And then push yourself out and away from the hands. So if you were standing with your arms overhead, you'd actually be getting your shoulders closer to your ears. So shoulders pulled down, shoulders pressing away. And that's the action that you're going to do while you hold your downward facing dog. Now from your down dog, you're going to have some play, and you're going to walk, step, or jump your way into cross-legged if you can. So a little softness to the knees, hop forward, cross and land. And if you can't do that, don't worry about it. Just come to cross-legged to start. So a nice tall spine, cross-legged. If you can manage, add the props if you need them under the sit bones or under the knees. And we want to be mindful when we're sitting. If you're like me, this is especially important, that I like this real big bow in my back. Loosey-goosey through the front, nice arch to the back. But you're going to just notice if you have that tendency, and you're going to pull your low belly in and up, and you're going to create a little bit straighter through the spine. So a straight spine still has the S curve, but it's not a pronounced S curve. So you're going to pull the low belly, shoulders are down and back, crown of the head reaching. So think about chin being parallel to the floor. You can also think about in terms of your lower ribs. So if your lower ribs are pushed forward, you know that you're doing this bum sticking out pose, and you've got less contraction through the abdominals. So if you think about your lower ribs being pulled back, that'll automatically tone to the belly and get your spine back into neutral. Some people do naturally go the other way. They're always rounded through the low back, and then it'd be the opposite for them. They would have to think about actually letting their lower ribs go forward to create the curve in the low back. So lots of things to think about. Sitting nice and tall. We're just going to go into the shoulders for just a few moments before we come into our back. So arms are going to come up. We're going into our eagle arm shapes. Right elbow under the left. Cross them, make an X. If you can, back the hands together. And then we're going to pull the elbows down today. You're going to round forward in the shoulders. And you're going to create this stretch or feeling of being rounded in the upper back with your eagle arms. And then you'll lift up and you'll reach the elbows up. So think like cat-cow in the back, but with your eagle arms. Meet back at center. Unwind your arms and go the opposite way. So elbow, right elbow on top, either the axe, backs the hands, or the full wrap. And then again, round and tuck elbows to belly. And then straighten, lift up, elbows lift. And you'll move in and out with the breath. Releasing the arms, coming back. You can roll the shoulders a couple times, and then we're going to extend the legs out in front. Come off any support that you were sitting on. You can have nice, strong, straight legs. Pull your toes back towards you. And try to create the sensation of being perfectly stacked in an L shape. So shoulders over hips, belly firm, crown of the head reaching. Hands can rest alongside the hips, Dandasana or staff pose. And now switching your feet, so point your feet strongly And take your hands behind your back. The fingertips will face towards your back. Lean back into your wrists. You may need to bend the elbows generously. Lower back and then pull the chest up and straighten the arms. So you get a nice stretch to the shoulders and through the chest. This might be enough for you just coming here, or you can lift the hips. So if you're lifting your hips, think about pointing your toes and trying to get the soles of your feet back down to the mat. Lifting and pressing. You're going to lower the hips back down if you've lifted. And take your hands back forward. Pull your knees into your chest. Again, nice tall spine. Arms will reach forward. Balancing on your sit bones as you start to lean back. Come up onto the tips of your toes. And then see if you want to lift your feet today for Navasana or boat pose. Maybe the hands and the feet or the shins are parallel. Perhaps a straighter leg. Just find some balance and then hold and breathe. Perhaps even closing the eyes down. Release the feet and straighten one leg back out and just see if it's possible today to lean to one side and pull your heel alongside your hip. This is our half hero's pose. If this doesn't work for your knee, you could lie on your side and come into a quad stretch or come up to standing and pull your heel to your bum for a quad stretch. So that's what we're primarily focusing on. Can we get a nice stretch to the front of the quad? If this is enough for you to stay here, you may also, if you're a little bit tight or you got knee injury, is to sit on a block so that there's just a little less pressure through the knee joint or a little less stretch through the quad. If you are okay and you need more, of course, you can lean back, maybe coming onto forearms or onto a prop or maybe even all the way to the floor. Again, the primary concern here or a sensation we're looking for is a stretch through the quad. So wherever you get to, just hold and breathe. And whatever version of your quad stretch you found yourself in, release and go to the other side. If you're working on this version and then you're almost there, sometimes just leaning to one side and rolling your calf muscle out and away from you gives you a bit more space. So see if that helps. Again, if there's any pain or sharpness in the knee, it's the wrong shape for you, it's the wrong pose. Either go up to standing quad stretch, or lie on your side and reach back for the top foot. And then we'll stay here just for a little bit longer. Again, whatever version you're in, release. And we're going to make our way onto the back. So however you can get there safely. You may want to put on an extra layer if you've started to cool, whether it's a sweater or some socks, or perhaps grabbing a blanket. And we'll meet on our backs, knees to chest. Well, you might want to start by rocking side to side. And then coming back to center, we're going to go into our happy baby pose. Feet come up towards the ceiling, either grabbing the thighs or the calves or the feet. You're going to let your knees open, and then you're going to use your arms to pull knees and shoulders or knees and elbows down towards the floor. And if you're comfortable in this shape, of course, you could rock side to side. Coming back to center. I'm going to bring the knees back onto the chest. Hug and squeeze. And then your choice is either to come into legs at the wall, or your Shavasana on the back, or having a prop, whether it's a block or a blanket or a bolster, handy. Feet to the floor, lift the hips, slide the prop underneath. And then legs can extend up towards the ceiling. So if you have a wall handy, you could do legs at the wall. If you prefer to be on your back for Shavasana, of course, just lay down. Find comfort, whether you need some support under the neck or the knees. And we will find comfort and stillness, and then close down the eyes. And we can use this time to think about compassion, the hope or the goal or the philosophy of living our life through non-harming. So anytime you're feeling emotional upset, is there something that you can rewrite in what you're thinking? Question where these beliefs are coming from and whether or not they could be untrue, to see if you can rewrite the script and find more ease and joy. So a nice, soft, even, slow, deep breath as you hold in stillness, reflecting on Ahimsa. If you need more time in your final rest or your Shavasana, please stay. Just let the remaining time of my voice being here to be like the backdrop behind your own thoughts. If you need to get on with your day and you need to come out, just start to move around a little bit in whatever way feels right for you. And you have about, 30 seconds to a minute to eventually make your way back to seated. As you arrive back at seated, if you're coming up, make yourself comfortable, whether you need a prop or not. Always coming back to where we started. So comfortable cross-legged position if that's okay, tall spine, firmness through the belly, but it's with comfort. Shoulders down and back. And we'll close down the eyes, drop the chin towards the chest. And then bringing the hands together in front of the heart. You can either choose Anjali Mudra, or you can open the three fingers up to create the bowl or the lotus shape again in front of your heart. And taking the time to download compassion and non-harming into your thoughts, into how you move, into how you speak. And really being specific about what that means and what that looks like for you. You have to be able to see it, you have to be able to feel it in order to implement it. Bringing your hands back together, Anjali Mudra if they're not already there. And I'll leave you again just with a little bit of a reading about the practice of Ahimsa. And I think this is a really important statement. We create violence most often in our reactions to events and others, habitually creating judgment, criticism, anger, or irritation. Now the key word there is habitual. It's a habit. Somebody says something, this is our reaction. Somebody does something, this is our reaction. So our practice is to go, oh, I'm reacting the same way I've always done. And it's causing me emotional upset or anger or jealousy or whatever that negative emotion is. And that's not healthy for me. So I need to repattern my reaction to either words or events or people that are around me. So just notice the next time you have a reaction that you can pinpoint as being on repeat. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the practice, and I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, I'd love to hear them. And see you again soon. Namaste. Enjoy the sunshine.